He's good. Yeah. It's a minor thing that we don't need to practice. It'll be all right.
And surprise goaltender out there. Just what does it do for the group having you just participate like that?
It's fun, right? They come in, they're throwing muffins at him at first, right? Then they want to start scoring. But even at his age, you can still see the talents there, right? So there's things that you just can't be as fast at as you get older, but the talent's still there. And the way he reads the play, right? He's watched so much hockey as a goaltender, but then he's watched 1,000 goalies since he took over his new position. Like, he just reads the play so fast, so quick, and still gets it done.
Just to follow up with that, just obviously Tally is doing the bulk of stuff with Bob and Stoller, but to have a guy of his caliber in the building, even if he's just brushing shoulders around,
It's just
the value of having.
Yeah. I think we've got this really nice mix of goaltending kind of people here in our organization, and that includes Roberto's brother in Charlotte, that there's great communication between them, and then there's a whole bunch of different experiences. We've got a Hall of Fame goaltender, we've got a fantastic coach of goaltending and personalities in Robbie Tallis. Does it just such a great job, to the point where you want to have a player like Sergei Bobrovsky at his age playing as well as he's played, right? So his game right now from the start of the year has been just really, really good. And I think that's an advantage where Sergei and Anthony would know there are resources for him for a different kind of opinion on just about everything.
The last night looked like another one of those calm nights for Bob, right, from the beginning?
Yeah, efficient and then explosive, right? So he's not covering a lot of ice. He's really simple movements in the net, and then he gets across on points, breakaway. Just explodes across there. So powerful in the net. That's when he's at his best.
Even though you've had a couple days off in between the games, how critical was the way you guys played against Vegas in carrying over into the way you played last night against Tampa?
It would be elemental, right? It was the key piece. So we'd like to think, and we're trying to prove that now, that 5-game block, and we played a pretty good game against Edmonton. We've got 4 games that we're not scoring, but it culminates to a very poor game against St. Louis. But there's other reasons for that too, and they're all good. So we come off that long road trip, chances are we're going to be a little bit behind St. Louis, but we can still play. But they are maybe the best rush team in the league right now analytically. They generated a tremendous amount off the rush, so there was the perfect storm, right? We're not moving as well as we should. Mentally, we're losing our high forward. We created an environment where they could be good off the rush, and it just destroyed the game for us. But those are the best games to learn from because it's so clear and so obvious and so clean. And it's what the regular season's all about, like the adversity. Sometimes you create your own adversity, right? You're not scoring, you start pushing for goals, and then you get a really tough night like St. Louis, then that corrects you. So we get back into Vegas, and we know what they're capable of, and we know that we have to play a very strict, hard game to compete with them, and then we score 4. Hey, we hadn't scored in a long time, but we scored 4. And a game like last night was unusual for the first game after Christmas because it got up to being pretty contested at times, which is good. So I would agree that we feel we're on to something right now. We feel we have a path to follow, and we'll have to prove that, right? So good that the Rangers come in, the best team in the conference. Then you go back to back, and then we're going to hit Arizona as a playoff team, came back on Colorado, Vegas, Colorado, right? Come back. So we're going to hit the best teams on both sides here in the next week, and we're going to have to play that game to beat them.
But for Plaid, obviously, defense priority, you saw what you've been able to do on that end of it. But for him to finally find the back of the net last night,
I think it's good for him. Yeah. I think his game has changed a little bit over the last year and a half. In part that he's not on the top on the power play, so that's going to affect his numbers. If you're not on the number 1 power play unit, you are not putting up the numbers that you would have necessarily in the past. But what we appreciate more is his ability then to change and become a more dominant defensive player. So he and Gustav are an incredibly strong pair at their best that'll play against the other team's best, and he's accepted that. But everybody likes to score. Doesn't matter who you are. So that good feeling with the puck then does lead into better puck movement, faster movement, which helps you at both ends of the rink.
It's been a month plus now with you guys having the top PK in the NHL. How much of that is just an extension of the overall commitment to team defense that you guys kind of started with this season?
No, I don't think. No, I don't think those are directly. It might be indirect. I think
Like mentally.
I think what it was is last year we had a problem that we had a hard time fixing, and then this year we brought in some people that could help us fix it. So having a right-handed centerman who can kill penalties in Stenlund, and that relationship with Luosterainen grew. Mikula can kill penalties and Kulikov can kill penalties. It makes a big difference. So those guys come in and we take minutes off Barkov and Reinhart so that, and Reinhart and Barkov kind of bowled their way down the ice, but they hadn't been on the ice. The big bulk of that was taken by Stenlund and Luosterainen last night. So these guys get out later in the power play and they're fresh and they can get it to the net. I think it's, a credit to Bill and his staff, because we knew the penalty kill was probably the area that we needed to improve the most. It was also the greatest opportunity for us to improve something in our game, and they brought in the people that could help us do that.
One guy that when he was here, Gustav Forsling, if you don't watch the Panthers every day, you probably don't know what a good penalty killer he is. Just in terms of all the good things he does, how important is his penalty killing? Because he just is a real anchor for you guys.
No, that would be then direct to 5-on-5 game. That would be the direct connection. He is so dominant 5-on-5 in his swing-ins, in his killing of plays off the rush. And all of those attributes help him become a really strong penalty killer. And then we've gone to a far more aggressive style. At the start of this year, we're far more aggressive. And we kind of paid for it in the first, I would say, 10 games. It was a bit of a struggle for us. We had some strange things happen, but nobody wants to hear that, right? So it wasn't very good. And then the confidence came to the aggressiveness, and that's built for Gustav's game.
And Luongo tomorrow.
Yes.
He was in the starter net, so.
He looked pretty good, though, didn't he?
did.
Like, all joking aside, if you step in off the street and you have no idea in the nets, he looks like an NHL. A little more gray in the beard, but he looked pretty
That's
good.
what you have an ask for, though.
No, you know what? I'll just keep bringing him in. You never know.
Any thought, but Reinhardt's quote, so no lineup changes tomorrow? Do you anticipate?
Correct.
Real quick, just back to, you just talked about all the teams you're going to play on this road trip, and you've got this holiday back-to-back, sold-out arena at Montreal. Do you like these kind of weeks? I mean, the challenges are there. This ain't going to be easy.
I do. I don't feel we've been at home very much this year, right? So we're at 19, I think, road games. We'll get 2 in, and then we'll be at 23 and, 16 or 17? 17. 23 and 17. That's a big gap. It feels like we haven't been home much. When we like playing at home, especially from Christmas on, you know what I mean? That everybody can feel it coming. We're going to need them. The last 2 weeks of March and the first week in April are heavy, and that's we want a real comfort level playing at home in those 3 weeks.
Great.
All right, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.